Hi there and welcome to day 25 of my Inktober. 6 days left to go, it's not long now. Today's drawing is The Old Shades and it's in Westminster. I've had a look to try and find out if there's any information about this pub, any history, and I can't really find anything. I can just find that it's a Grade 2 listed traditional pub that was built in 1898 and it's just near Trafalgar Square. That's the only information I can find about it, and it's just typical because I said yesterday that I was going to read out some history of each pub for the rest of the month now. There's only 6 days left. I should have really started it from the beginning, but you learn as you go. So it's just typical that there's not much to say about this one. It's very ornate, it's got a stone front, and I enjoyed drawing it and I enjoyed painting it, but the drawing side of it took the longest to do, and that's why I set the camera angle up where I have done. Because it's quite a small pub, I didn't think you'd be able to see much from an overhead shot of me drawing this because there's quite a lot of intricate detail. So I wanted more of a close-up angle on this one. And also there's not much painting that goes on with this one because it's all kind of one colour until you get to the bottom part. So I thought that it'd be a bit more interesting to just lower the camera and get it from a different angle for the whole of the video. I've decided that because there's not much to say about this pub, I'll tell you a bit about myself instead. I'm new to YouTube. I've only done a couple of videos in the past where I haven't talked or anything like that. So I thought I'll just introduce myself and how I got into art and that kind of thing. So you know my name because my channel's named after me. I live in the northeast of England in a village called Wynyard, and we've lived here almost 2 years. I live with my husband and we've got 3 house cats who are two of them are about 13 years old. The other one, she is 15, I think. But they don't act like they're old cats, they act like the kittens. They run around and they go wild. But the house cats, we don't want to let them out because we've had cats in the past and we've lost them to them being outside, which is really sad. So we've kept them in since we got them and they seem happy enough. So anyway, we've got 3 house cats and me and my husband both work from home. Anyway, I first got into art. I'd always liked drawing and I've always got compliments for the drawings that I've done ever since I was a child. And then going through secondary school, I seemed to do the best in art than I did my other subjects. So then when it came to going to college, I decided to go to art college. I stayed there for about a year and then I dropped out because I'm not the fastest worker and I wasn't good at dealing with pressure of deadlines. So I ended up dropping out, and then I think I was about 17. I think I was about 17 years old. And then I've done various other jobs throughout my life. And then we moved to London for a year at the beginning of 2011. My husband got a contract and we lived in central London. We lived just round the corner from the Houses of Parliament. And we rented a flat out in London and it was exciting, and we took the cats with us. I'd got into photography just slightly before we went to London. And then when we lived there was just so much to photograph and I really got into photography quite a lot. And that's when I started looking at things in more of an arty kind of way. When we moved to London, and then I started thinking about art more. I think I was looking at photography tutorials on YouTube and I noticed there was some art videos that caught my eye and I started looking at those, and then it kind of went from there. I bought a set of Winsor & Newton paints, the ones that I have at the moment, and then I think I painted 1 or 2 birds, and then I found it quite difficult, and then I left it for a while and I just watched YouTube videos on art, and I spent a while doing that. We moved back home from London in the beginning of 2012, and then I think later on in that year, that's when I started getting more serious about my art. I'd done some illustrations and painted them, and then I put them on my Facebook page, and people started asking me about how to buy them, and I was really surprised that people wanted to buy my art. And I didn't have a scanner then, I didn't have a printer. I'd done an illustration of something, and I got quite a few people asking if they could buy it, and I thought, well, I'm going to have to paint another one if someone wants to buy it. So I'd just done everything from scratch. It took so long for me to do that, and I was only at the beginning of getting back into art again, so I was quite slow, and I was selling my art for really cheap. I was doing original illustrations that were taking me hours to do, and I was selling them for something like £10. After a few months, I started to realise that this just wasn't going to work, and I wasn't going to be able to keep that up. And I started looking into how other people were doing it, and I realised I just needed to start printing out my artwork. I invested in a printer, and I bought a scanner as well, and I set up an Etsy shop, and then that's when I started selling my work through Etsy. I got my first sale quite quickly. I think it was like 1 or 2 days after I'd opened my Etsy shop, so I was really pleased about that. And then I decided that I loved watching people painting on YouTube. I wanted to have a go at recording my own videos. I think it was only last year or the year before. It's only the past couple of years that I've tried that out. I didn't have the right equipment to do it with, and it was just difficult to do, and it put me off. It was just hard setting up the camera because I've got like a bulky SLR camera with a big lens on the front and things. It's a heavy camera, so it was difficult to set that up every time I wanted to do drawing. The light wasn't that great that I had. I just had a spotlight that was on my desk and a tripod that was stood beside me that was kind of over my shoulder. I couldn't see what the camera was filming because it was above me and it didn't have a flip screen. So that's why I only done a couple of those videos, and then I'd watched people doing Inktober last year. I'd watched a YouTuber called Minnie Small, and she done Inktober last year. She done haunted houses, and I used to look forward to watching those videos every night. And this year I decided that I was going to give Inktober a go, and I thought I'm going to record it every day and I'll come up with a theme. So I started doing the first couple of videos with my old camera, and then I just thought I'm going to have to go out and buy a camera, and so I did that, and I bought a microphone as well, and I've bought some lighting to light the videos up a lot better. So that's how I got back into drawing and painting and art again. So if you've got any questions about anything that I've talked about today, then let me know in the comments section, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.